So you got to understand that the Bible is not a collection of sweet fairy tales. The Bible is not about simplistic religion or easy morality. The Bible is a finely crafted mirror reflecting light into the deepest, darkest corners of the human soul. And those courageous enough to look into it, they see images of ourselves we prefer to ignore.
Life goes on, and sometimes you just never get the chance to talk about it. You never get the chance to reflect on it. And I think when I sat there with them on that afternoon, Jesus and his mom and his dad, I realized that I was nurturing and fostering a conversation that otherwise may have never been had. They may have never had that conversation. And I think that is maybe the message I want to leave you with the most. The thing I've been thinking about the most for all of you in particular is, if you do nothing else, just have the conversations. Just the conversations alone can change your life. Make them authentic, make them real, make them genuine, and they will change your life.
To call politics in our era tribal is to project our own rancor and divisiveness onto societies that have rarely been as polarized as ours. The value of tribalism as a term is that it expresses revulsion, a revulsion that I share at our current state of affairs, at how far our political and social lives have regressed, as we might say, to something primitive and barbaric, something that we purportedly modern civilized people should by now have left behind. But this is a deeply ironic way of seeing things, for it may be, as I hope I've shown, that by thinking anew about actual indigenous people and by opening ourselves to their so-called tribal ways, that we stand our best chance of again becoming civil and maybe even civilized.
Only a few lines later in this poem, she discusses her distaste for new wave cinema, and she writes, "I will never get into the soft whir of continuous strip imagery," all caps. Here she activates a filmic trope, of course, but also explicitly deploys a phrase from the Department of Defense's Dictionary of Military and Associated Terms. And this reappropriation and reapplication of military language is, I think, one of this book's most shattering effects.
The flattening of social media has increased the ease of accessing information and sharing lived experiences across geographies, which speaks to greater solidarity and similar experiences of movement beyond traditional ideas of who is poor and who is not, for example. The digital space has also become a convening center for movements to grow and build solidarity across continents. For example, witnessing the brutal murder of George Floyd and blatant vaccine apartheid in the height of the COVID-19 pandemic was a shift for the development space. Development actors used that moment to reflect, act, and accelerate efforts to eliminate institutional racism.